Greetings and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Run, and today we're playing as Lazarus. With the room back in the first treasure room, I really thought that this was gonna be a very straightforward daily. I thought we were gonna get an AWAS root at some point, we're gonna keep it and we're gonna use it on the womb too so we can get down to the shoal. Obviously, life has a way of working, and especially in Isaac daily runs, you can never rely on variance too much, but obviously I thought with all of the rooms that we have to explore, with boss rush and things like that, I was gonna be able to make it work. Of course, with roomback you also entail some of the other associated things that you get with it, but because you have to stick with that one AWAS rune, you really can't take that much of an advantage of Yara runes or Percho runes. Maybe you reroll a Devil Deal or a Shop or things like that and then use the Yara rune to maybe get more consumables, but overall you really don't have much use for those particular runes because they're very situational, and it's hard to kind of force those situations to happen naturally as you actually play throughout the game. Obviously they do have some synergies with some of the other items, but the real bread and butter of the rune back here is the AWAS rune, which should allow us to get down to shoal. Well, like I said, life has a way, and even though I did find an AWAS rune, the decisions I made on why I didn't keep it were a bit curious, and I would like to maybe entertain some of you with the possibilities that we had in this run and why I think I made some of the correct ones and some of the incorrect ones. So, what went wrong and what went right, let's explore as we actually go through the daily. So the first mistake was definitely the fact that I took way too much time on the second floor. I'm not really sure what possessed me to do this. I think the main fact was I got the Ivy bag on the first floor, and because of that I really thought that I should make the greatest use out of it. I still have my respawn I can get back as Lazarus 2, that was gonna give me a lot of damage, really some damage, and with Pentagram I really thought I was gonna be set for the next floor. As the time went on, I decided I'm gonna try to utilize or optimize my usage of the Yara rune. So what I did is I went through the hole, I scoured the floor to get as many hearts as possible. I used it in the shop, and then I used the Yara rune in the shop. And I thought that this way I was actually gonna be able to be strong enough in order to get to the second floor. I was gonna have enough spirit hearts, but I discovered a library. It had 5 books in it, and one of them was how to jump. So at first I thought I'm not gonna even bother with this because I don't think it's worth it, but then I went back, and because of the rooms and how they were structured, they had those trap rooms with those spiky thingies which follow you and chase you around. It's kind of hard to dodge, and most importantly, not hard to dodge, it just takes a lot of time to actually traverse those rooms. But I decided to go back anyway. I used the how to jump and collected 5 books. I really thought I was going to get something like a Percho rune or maybe a black rune. I would be able to suck those up or maybe roll them into other books and eventually some of the items. Well, that didn't really work out as I expected it to. I did use the black rune later on, but I really thought that picking up those 5 items early on, those 5 books, is gonna put them out of the pool, and that's gonna increase my chances later on. As I've actually found later, a lot of the books also exist in the secret room pool, which means that if you pick them up earlier, you're gonna increase your chances of getting something good later on, and that's very important because I try to make that daily, or at least that play, where I go into the secret room and I try to reroll some of those items into items like Forget Me Now, blank cards, etc. And I will talk more about that as I actually get to that point. But I think that definitely the biggest mistake there was me using too much time on the second floor, trying to be way too fancy, trying to optimize just a bit too much, and that led me in a position where I left the second floor at the 9th minute. But I didn't think it was lost at that point. I definitely think that the run was still salvageable. Remember, we have the rune back, we can get things like AWAS runes, maybe we can even use, not AWAS, Answers runes is what I meant, but maybe we can even use an AWAS rune to skip a floor and then hope to get another one later, or maybe if you get 2, we can use one to skip and then keep the other one to go to shoal. And that would be a very fine idea, except the fact is I only got 1 AWAS rune up until this point, and there was a decision that I had to make. Would I rather have the Answers rune and then use that to try to get to boss rush much faster, or would I rather have the AWAS rune and pretty much guarantee myself the chance to go to shoal? And you might say, obviously you keep the AWAS rune, because you're already late, you only have 3 minutes to essentially complete 2 floors. It doesn't really look up. Obviously I have a quite strong run going on here, but even if you have the information on where the mom is, you still have 2 floors which you need to visit. And I definitely think that you make a valid point, this imaginary stranger that I just conjured up in my head. But I also think that AWAS runes are, not AWAS, but I definitely think that I was capable or strong enough to actually get to Mom fast enough. I did require some luck. First of all, maybe I could have gotten another Answers rune, that was a bit unlikely, but more so I shouldn't have walked into any of the dead ends. So I decided to stick with an Answers rune, and I just left the AWAS rune on the floor, on the 4th floor, which means I had to explore the 5th floor and the 6th floor fully in 3 minutes. And of course, because I had the Answers rune, I decided to use it as soon as possible. I went to the treasure room, thought maybe I'm gonna get some good items out of that. I explored it, I got to the mom floor at 18:30, which leaves me with about a minute and a half, let's say a minute, to get to mom and actually beat her. And I really thought I was gonna be able to make it. Sadly, I did end up walking in some of the dead ends, so that was my second biggest mistake, that I was kind of overzealous. I kind of expected that my run is gonna be much better than it actually was, and because I took some more time on the previous floors, especially the second floor, I wasn't able to get to boss rush in time. And not only wasn't able to get the boss rush, I also lost the possession of my AWAS rune, which means that now if I don't get another AWAS rune, I'm gonna be severely left behind from the players who both went to boss rush and visited Shoal, because boss rush immediately, that's like 4,500 points, and going to Shoal also immediately, I would say, is 4,500 points, and those are points that you just get for going there, let alone just having a chance to actually explore it more, get some more consumables. Especially with Sackboy, you can imagine that I would get a lot of consumables, so it was kind of a bummer, but a mistake that I was willing to take. I still thought, I have Sackboy, I have rune back, I can increase my chance, or at least force my way to getting another AWAS rune, and I hope that we can get alongside that. Sadly, that didn't really happen. I didn't find another AWAS rune, so the whole entirety of the run gave me that one AWAS rune, which I decided to leave behind, because I thought picking up the Answers rune was going to be better. Obviously, you have to remember that when I decided to pick up the Answers rune, I picked it up with the intention of getting the boss rush, and then I thought, because I'm gonna be able to explore the entirety of Womb 1 and Womb 2, but also I'm gonna be doing Boss Rush, I'm gonna have many more chances, because of Boss Rush, to get another AWAS rune or maybe another rune which would help me out. Sadly, because I didn't make it, that didn't really work out as planned, but I was positive. I stayed positive, I really thought I was gonna be able to make it, and another AWAS rune never showed up, which was a bit of a bummer, but I had another trick up my sleeve. So what do I decide to do? A lot of people would have maybe just quit, just succumbed to their fate, but I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna take every opportunity that gets in order to break the game. So I could have used the Purple rune here and rerolled some of the items in the Devil Deal, and I could have gotten a shovel that way if I was really lucky. Nothing wrong with that, but I decided maybe my better odds would be just to take the Purple runes, the Judgment cards, and the Yarrow runes in the Secret Room, and what I'm gonna do there is duplicate them. So I just slowed it down so I can kind of picture what's going on. So I use the Judgment cards, first I use the Yarrow, then I use the Judgments, I play them so I get the items out of it, and of course I have 4 Purple runes, which means I can reroll 2 pedestals at once. There are, I think, something like 29 items in the Secret Room pool, and there are 3 which are very good, so I would be very happy about the blank card, I would be happy about the Forget Me Now, or I would be happy about the Shovel. So those are 3 out of the 29 items that we got, and I believe I picked up 3 of the items which already exist in the Secret Room pool, and I picked it up prior to that, which means that they can't appear again, so that's like 3 out of 26. I have 4 Purple runes with 2 items, which means I can reroll 8 items in total. I did the math, and the chances of me not seeing any of those items is something like 56%, which is not super unlikely or likely, which means I have about a coin flip of actually finding any of those 3 items, but sadly that didn't happen. Even though I used my Purple rune so many times, 4 times, and even though I really thought I made a really good play, a really good decision here because of the Sackboy and all of that, I just wasn't able to make it work, and that's really a bummer. I was really disappointed because I really thought that this was gonna be my daily where I actually take some knowledge of the game, my knowledge of the Secret Room pools and just how they work, and do some math and statistics, because I did calculate some of these things prior to actually playing this daily, and I thought that this was gonna help me to actually find a breaking synergy. Obviously, like I said, any 3 of those items would have allowed me to get a really, not advantage, but to catch up to those people who actually did go to boss rush. Or Forget Me Now could have led me maybe to another floor, and that could have led me to an AWAS rune or maybe another sacrificial room where I could have gone to the dark room. If I found a blank card plus Sierra, my Shrek bonus would be about 7,000 points higher. And of course, if I found, what was the last one that I mentioned, the shovel, I would be able to go to Shoal, and then again I would have another chance to go to the dark room maybe, or maybe break the game that way and find a Forget Me Now. Of course, all of these possibilities were open, and sadly none of them happened. With just a coin flip, this is how we lost the daily, at least in quotation marks. At least our damage penalty was relatively low. I really didn't take that much damage. Our expansion bonus was maybe a bit on the low side, but at least this run was very strong. I enjoy Mom's Heart dailies usually, but this one in particular I also enjoyed very much, just because of the dailies and the runs that I got up until this point really fed into this cluster of items that we got, and it was really fun just to actually go through the rooms and kill the enemies and just deal with them in this fashion. So I wish that you played this daily, because I think it was a fun one, even though it had a lot of breaking, so to say, in it. I still feel like there's a lot to be taken from this. I hope you enjoyed this one, guys, and I hope to see you next time.